now it's plucking. Do, 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 do. Creepy plucking of the strings. Do, 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 do. Ha-da! Alright, I better come on now. One second, let me get the music right. Turn it down a little bit. So I'm just adjusting the music so it's at a good volume. Let's see, that feels good. And then I shall up here. Le gasp! 'Tis Jessie! I am on the screen! Hello! Oh, is this music gonna build up in the background? There we go. There we go. We got some nice spooky music going on. How is everybody? Hello, Owen. Hello, Dudaredum. Super Femi. Gothic Dan's Crumbs. Alexis Edits. Alex. Dorian. Athema Device. Who else is here? Redem 10. Alexis Edits. Good to see you. Who else is here? Sharon Baker. Good to see you. Oh, thank you for the thank you for saying excellent lighting. I can make it. I wonder if I can make it a more Halloweeny. Ooh, like red. Is red Halloweeny? I guess orange is like more Halloweeny, but then orange doesn't really show up on the camera, so I guess like red. But I like the blue. The blue like shows up kind of nice. It looks kind of nice. Anyways, good to see everybody. How is everyone doing this this fine Thursday evening, everyone? It's good to see everyone. Oh, Finn, good to see you, Finn. It's been a minute. It's been a hot minute since I've seen you on the stream, Finn. Good to see you. Blue is the best. I agree, Gozer. Aw, doing awesome. Found out that the Uncharted movie is coming out the day. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I saw the Uncharted trailer, Bronze Eagle Productions, and I really, well, I was gonna say I really loved it. I don't know if I loved it. It didn't. It was not bad. It's weird seeing Tom Holland be Nathan Drake for me. Like, the movie looks like it'll be a fun time. I don't know if it'll be a stellar movie, but it looks like a fun movie, and I'm excited for that. But I just can't. I'm just gonna have to accept that it's not, like, it's an Uncharted movie, but it's not really an Uncharted movie just because I just don't see Tom Holland being Nathan Drake. But that's fine. Doesn't make it bad. It's just weird in my brain. Anyways, good to see everybody. Yes, for those of you who don't know, couple quick things, just so everyone knows. This is my typical weekly live stream every Thursday. We hang out for about an hour. I chat about whatever everyone else wants to talk about. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, stuff you want me to just rant about for a while, I talk about it for about an hour or so. I'll probably end up a little early tonight because I have plans right at 7. I'm going to be watching a movie with a friend tonight. So we're just going to be ending a little bit early, a little bit before 7, probably like 6:50 instead of 7 o'clock, like I normally do, which is why I started a tad early. So just be aware of that. But otherwise, we go for an hour. We talk about whatever. Super chats are super appreciated. I already see 2 people already gave some super chats, which I appreciate. Super chats help pay the bills, help me do all the fun stuff on this channel. But there's no pressure to super chat. They are just appreciated, and obviously I answer them. But obviously, if you don't, that's totally cool too. I'm just happy that you're here. Couple quick things. I just want to quick announce before I get to the super chats and we start talking about whatever the chat wants to talk about. Sorry, I'm just making sure I'm putting up my screen here. Couple quick announcements. There's a video tomorrow. Video tomorrow is going to be on Bisexual Superman. I'll put up the link to it at the end of the stream. I think it'll be kind of fun. It's a video sort of on the political reaction to Bisexual Superman, why politicians are talking about Bisexual Superman, why it's so important to be talking about Bisexual Superman. So that's a video tomorrow. And then Saturday, I'm actually going to be doing a lot more stuff than I normally do on the weekend. I'm going to be appearing on 2 different live streams. I'm going to be first appearing on Bad Bunny's live stream. She's doing a 5-hour live stream for Trans Lifeline to help fundraise for Trans Lifeline. And then I'm also going to be, I want to make sure I get their name correct, with a bunch of other YouTubers. I'm also going to be a pair on Lumi Ruse Twitch stream earlier in the day. So at noon Pacific time, I'm going to be on Lumi Ruse for about 2 hours. I'm going to be talking about the Dave Chappelle special and the sort of reaction to the Dave Chappelle special. Talking about that for 2 hours. And then after that, I will be on Bad Bunny's live stream for however long she'll have me on there. That might mean, because I'll be live streaming so much on Saturday during the day, I might cancel my video game live stream in the evenings on Saturday, the drunk stream, just so I have a chance to, like, not be on camera all day Saturday and to kind of, like, collect myself and, like, have a little bit of relaxation that day. So we'll see how that goes. I'll sort of keep everyone appraised of that on the community tab if I'm going to cancel the video game live stream. But even if you don't see me on the video game live stream, there's a bunch of other live stream stuff that I'll be doing on Saturday. So I just wanted to quick make sure all of that was on the table. Video tomorrow, bunch of live stream stuff on Saturday with me doing some transgender discussions and things like that. So yeah, that's currently what's on the table. Otherwise, let's talk about what everyone else wants to talk about, and I want to quick address the 2 super chats that have already come in. Edward Bedor, heart to you, mwah, my lovely friend. You said, riddle me this, riddle me that. What does a cowl that allows Batman actors to turn their neck lead to not understandable at all deep growl voices? Oh my gosh, I was ready for I was all prepared. I was all prepared for a rhyme. But it's a good question. Why does a cowl that allows Batman actors to turn their neck lead to not understand? Yeah, because both Robert Pattinson in the Batman trailer this past weekend, because actually turned his head and he's like, I'm angry, boy. I'm angry, Bruce Wayne. I'm actually very excited. That trailer for the Batman looked really, really good. It's kind of hitting that mark for me of what I really, really love about Batman movies, that I like as much as I love Christopher Nolan's movies. There's this weird middle ground that I don't think Batman movies have really hit yet, because the Tim Burton Batman movies are these over-the-top campy things, whereas Christopher Nolan's things were movies were so grounded in dark and gritty Batman. And Matt Reeves' Batman and Robert Pattinson's, it seems to be hitting this middle ground where it's very dark and grounded, and yet can still kind of be heightened and over the top in that sort of Batman the Animated Series way, which has me kind of excited for it. Honestly, I'm very, very pumped to see Batman the Animated Series, see it a movie in that kind of vein. And so I'm really hoping that that's what that movie is, and it looks to be delivering that from the trailer. Obviously a much younger and angrier Batman, but I hope his arc is that he becomes less angry over the movie and becomes much more the detective Batman he has to take on the Riddler. I believe the arc of the movie is going to be he starts off this angry, I'm going to beat everything up Batman, young and just hot-headed, and then because he's facing the Riddler who forces him to actually use his brains, we get to see a more detective side, the more intelligent side of Batman come out. So I'm actually really pumped. That trailer had me excited, but you're right. He's just doing the Batman voice. He's like, I'm angry, Batman! I'm gonna beat up the bad guys. Where is he? Why aren't you dead? That sort of Batman, where he just garbles every word. But I'm excited for it. It looks to be a fun. I'm really excited for it. Let's see. Also, Chloe, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah. You said my friend Alex and I are about to do it tonight. I see what you. I see what you did. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. I see what you did there. You're gonna let some spice flow, as the kids be saying nowadays. Also, 2 decades later, the 2 Dune miniseries made for the Sci-Fi Channel holds up well. Really, so I've never seen. To be fair, I've never seen any of the Dune. I haven't seen the miniseries, nor have I seen. Oh my gosh, Eraserhead. Why am I? Twin Peaks. David Lynch. There was the word. I haven't seen David Lynch's version of the film either, which I just want to see, just for greased up Sting and Patrick Stewart. Just for those 2 alone, I kind of need to see it. But I'm very excited. Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors of all time, and I'm legitimately pumped for the Dune movie coming this weekend. We're not seeing a movie. I'm watching another movie with a friend tonight, but my plan is tomorrow night, Friday night, I'm gonna go and see the movie in theaters, and then I'm probably gonna do a review depending on how much energy I have. I'll probably film my review afterwards tomorrow night. So if you're looking for my review to Dune, it'll be, at the very latest, it'll be up by Monday. More than likely, I'll probably have it up either Friday night or Saturday morning. So just keep an eye out if you want my thoughts on Dune. But yeah, I'm very, very pumped for it. It looks to be a really great movie. And Denis Villeneuve is Blade Runner 2049, one of my favorite movies of all time. I adore it. Some of the other stuff that he's done is also fantastic, like Sicario and stuff like that. It was really, really, really. He's just a great director. He's just a freaking fantastic director. And the fact that he makes really great sci-fi stuff, I'm so here for. Oh, Renee says, I'm a new subscriber. Vera from Council of Geeks brought me here. Oh, that's awesome. Vera is wonderful. I love Vera. Vera is one of my favorite people. Don't tell her I said that, though. Vera, if you're in the chat, I actually hate you. You're the worst person, and podcasting with you is absolutely terrible, and I hate every second of it. No, I love Vera, but just keep it a secret. Don't let her know. You don't want her head to get too big. So. Jessie, thank you for saying you saw me. Yeah, yesterday I was on the Surfs. I was on the Surf. If anyone doesn't know, the Surfs is a sort of leftist Twitch streamer. Also has a YouTube channel, but mainly does Twitch streaming. And I was on his channel with a few other wonderful folks talking about the Dave Chappelle special, just because they want to get the trans people to talk about Dave Chappelle. So I'm happy to do that and talk about it, because I think we don't need to get into Dave Chappelle super much here on this stream, but Dave Chappelle has been an interesting moment for this discussion, because I think it just raises so many of these questions, and also there's been a lot of misinformation used to attack the trans community based on Dave Chappelle, and then also the Netflix walkout as well. So what I'm saddened about is just the amount of vitriol and hate and misinformation that is currently being targeted against the trans community because of Dave Chappelle. I'm going to put this a little bit closer. But what I am pleased about coming off of that is that there has been a focus on a nuanced conversation within a lot of different spaces. So it's not entirely... I don't want to argue that it's a good thing, but because there has been a lot of harm caused by that special, I think that there's also been a lot of good, there's been a lot of positive conversations that have come out of it as well. So I don't want to necessarily go whether it's a negative or net positive. It's just a thing that happened that we now are dealing with. But there has been some positive that has come out of it, so at least there's that. So yeah, thank you for saying that you saw me on the Surfs, Molly. I appreciate that. It was a very good conversation, I think. Not just because I was part of it. Edward Bedor, hard to you. You also had another super chat. I just want to say thank you for that. Mwah. Thank you, my friend. You said, I question why Superman wasn't always bisexual when he's friends with hot heroes like Batman and Wonder Woman. Wink, wink. I know that is John Kent. Right? Like, Batman, come on. Superman, he's from another planet. He's going to be boning. He's like, he's not stuck. I know he was raised on Earth, but come on. At this point, he's like, I'm an alien. Like, what do I care about gender? I don't care about your silly little gender norms. I'm gonna bone like Bruce Wayne. Like, look, have you seen his abs? Like, Batman v Superman was not a good movie, but like, you saw Ben Affleck with these like tossing that tire around. Like, come on. It's just a little bit like, Batman's a little bit hot, bit too broody for me. I would much rather bone Henry Cavill if I'm being honest with you. But yeah. Though I feel like having sex with Superman, like, I feel like you just die. Right? Like, no offense, but, like, I feel I would be, like, good on Lois Lane for getting some, but, like, I would be worried that he would, like, maybe thrust a little bit too hard, and then, like, my pelvis would be shattered for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, he's gotta be, like, Superman has to be very gentle. Or you, like, have to get on, like, a whole suit every time that you need a, like, bone suit. It's like, alright! Get on the exoskeleton so we can bone, Lois. Get on your suit exoskeleton so we can all bone here. Batman, I feel like I could take it. Batman would be Batman. That's what that metal suit was in Super. Oh God, why am I on this? That was what Batman's metal suit was in Man of Steel, right? Not Man of Steel, Superman v Batman. He was like wearing the metal suit so they could bone. It's his protective space. Oh, God. I mean, honestly, I feel like Wonder Woman was the only person that could safely bone Batman. But there we go. Thank you very much, Jay. You rock, Jay. I appreciate you. He did it in Bronze Eagle Productions. Yes, Denis Villeneuve did direct Arrival. It's another great movie. Pretty much all of Denis Villeneuve's filmography is fantastic. I'm like trying to think of a bad movie that he did. And I can't think of a single one. I've seen all of them. There was Enemy, there was Sicario, there was Arrival, there was Blade Runner 2049. I feel like there's another one I'm missing in his, at least there's one or two more in his filmography that I'm missing, but I've seen all of them and they're all excellent, even if I'm not immediately coming off the top of my head with it. So, Lyra, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you, I appreciate you. You are absolutely fantastic. I appreciate it. Let's see, Stephen Fenn. Oh, my thing jumped ahead. Stephen Fenn, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah. You said, hey, Jessie, next week is Asexuality Awareness Week. I mentioned this because it's sort of the point, raising awareness of invisible orientation. Yes, hell yes. I did not know. Excuse me. I actually did not know that it was Asexual Awareness Week. I always miss, like, there's a bunch of, like, Bisexual Awareness Week and Trans Day of Visibility and everything. And those are important, like, I think those are important things to recognize. I am very bad at staying up to date on them, so I didn't know them, but that's awesome. We should be I'm really glad that asexuality has been talked about more. I mean, I mentioned this in other streams, But we are just now, I mean, we've been talking about asexuality for a while, but I feel like there's starting to get that same sort of, asexuality I think is starting to be talked about a little bit more in the same way that trans issues were just being talked about a little bit more, like about 10 to 15 years ago. And I hope that it's much more accelerated, because I think asexuality is something that we need to acknowledge is actually much more. We tend to think of asexuality as just like one or two people are asexual, but I really feel like asexuality is a much more prevalent feeling, especially when we talk about the spectrum that is asexuality for a lot of people, and how we as a society, especially in the United States, really pressure people into feeling like they should have sex, but also put like a deep shame on sex. So there's like this combination of puritanical values on like, you need to have sex, but never talk about it. Never ever talk about it. And so like there's this weird pressure of like, we can't talk about asexuality because it's like this weird pressure where it's like you feel like you have to have sex, so that puts pressure on asexual people to not feel open to talk about it, or even understand that they are asexual and understand how to talk about how they're feeling. And then they don't have anyone to talk to because they're sort of shamed for not wanting to have sex, and also shamed for wanting to talk about sex in general. And I really think that just being able to talk about asexuality more, even though I'm not asexual, I think it's a very important thing to talk about, because we can talk about how there's a societal expectation that's placed on people who are asexual, and how we can really free people open to like talk about the spectrum that is sexual attraction, sexual enjoyment, how asexuality is not just saying I never want to have sex, but asexuality can really be about I don't care for sex, but I don't mind having it for my partner. I don't mind having it to please others. I don't mind having it for other reasons besides sexual attraction, like maybe for fun, for play. Like there's different ways to view it and talk about asexuality, and I really think that that's important. So I'm glad that it's basically, long and short of it is, Asexual Awareness Week is amazing. I do want to do a video on asexuality, but I also want to include some asexual people in that conversation, and I'm always too busy. I keep wanting to do more of those things, but there will be some stuff on asexuality at some point. So that is awesome, Stephen. And Chloe, thank you so much for your super chat. It says Batman x Superman. Batman boning Superman, man. The hips of steel, butt of steel, steel butt. There's some more jokes in there. Also, I like this music for this. And Black Eel Productions, we actually talked about this, but Heart to You. You said, oh, where'd you go? Didn't you direct Arrival? One of my favorite type of films. Great movie. Love Arrival. It's a great movie about like determinism, and like how we can view time in different ways, but how if we think about time in different ways, do we ultimately have free will? Do we actually have choice in the things? I think Arrival's a great movie. I saw it at like 1 a.m. on the night it came out, and I loved it. And I was like, oh, it's 3 a.m. and I'm tired, but I'm also, my mind is kind of blown right now. So that was kind of crazy. Let's see. Lyra, Heart to You. Thank you so much, you lovely, lovely person. Mwah. Thank you so much for the super chat. You said, thank you so much for speaking up for trans people in the face of Chappelle special. You have inspired so many trans kids to keep on going. Yeah, I'm appreciative of you saying that. Yeah, the Chappelle video did really, really well. Unfortunately, is also, I mean, if you look at the like to dislike ratio, but there's also been a lot of like unfortunate, best way to put this. I mean, the disinformation around the Chappelle special has been really, really frustrating, because I feel like the conversation has now moved away from what the Chappelle special was actually saying, and the nuanced conversation that Chappelle, I think, was trying to have and succeeded in some ways and failed in other ways. I think, and it's a little bit frustrating. Sorry, I'm just turning on the music a little bit for this part. It's a little bit frustrating because it's like, I feel like there's been this disinformation campaign around the Chappelle special that has very much straw-manned, straw-womaned trans people in the conversation that we want to have around the Chappelle special. And so that's been frustrating in a lot of the comments and a lot of people's reaction to that video in some ways, because I know that video is a hit on some darker message boards, some alt-right places. So I've been getting a lot of harassment for it, which sucks. And I don't want to say that to discourage any other trans creators. Like, please, trans creators, I'm happy to take that. I'm happy to take that. It's not like, it doesn't bother me in a personal way. It's just more saddening to be like, it's more saddening in the sense that, like, there's a lot of work to do and there's a lot of conversations to be had, and we need to keep pushing. But ultimately, what I want to say is, like, we should be taking this as a chance to, like, we need to push back and make sure that the conversation stays where the conversation needs to stay. People want this to become a culture war conversation. They want it to be a us versus them conversation. Trans people versus Dave Chappelle. Trans people versus, TERFs who are women and things like that. When really this needs to be a conversation about how we all need to work together to have this conversation together. Have a nuanced conversation about how it's not about canceling Chappelle, about how it's holding Chappelle accountable for some of the things he said, while also acknowledging that some of the things he said do have validity to him. Like how we do center a lot of white people in LGBTQ discussions, how there is a lot of like framing of white privilege and white supremacy even in many conversations, not even just within LGBTQ spaces, but in feminist spaces as well. I mean, TERFs, that was the one thing that frustrated me in his special. He talked about Sojourner Truth and how Sojourner Truth wrote the essay Ain't I a Woman, how her womanhood as a black woman was denied her because she was seen as black. And he didn't acknowledge how TERFs are also the same feminists that are very much paternalistic and sort of like, oh, well, let's help the black community in a very paternalistic, like white supremacist sort of way. And also not acknowledging that like the denial of someone's validity of womanhood is the same thing that happens to the trans community. But also there is some intersectional discussions to be said about like how, trans white people, myself included, I'm not, denying my own place of privilege in this, that trans white people are often centered in a lot of conversations about trans people. We don't acknowledge that black trans women are some of the most, one of the most groups that face some of the highest rates of violence in this country right now. Besides maybe, I think the only other group, I believe I'd have to look at the statistic. I think the only other group of people that I can think of would be Indigenous women. Indigenous women also face a lot of violence fairly regularly. And we don't talk about that enough either. So I think there's a lot of nuanced conversation to be had about the Chappelle special. And on one hand, I'm very happy that that is happening in a lot of different places. And I'm hoping that this conversation is able to move the needle a little bit in certain areas that it doesn't necessarily reach. Like, there are some people that are just going to go to their Ben Shapiro. Sorry, I'm ranting about this for a hot minute, and I will get to the rest of Super Chats, but I just want to make sure I get to this. I want to make sure I want to address this. Like, what I'm hoping is there are the people that are going to go to the Ben Shapiros, they're going to go to the Steven Crowders, going to go to the whoever's of the internet and online spaces, and they're going to get their misinformation. They're going to get their culture war conversation. They're going to get their fear-mongering and anger tactics towards trans people. It's going to happen, and it sucks. What I hope, though, is that because this Dave Chappelle special has come up and created this conversation in a fairly mainstream way, that the people that are in the middle are going to look around and try and find that nuanced conversation about the special, and maybe they'll hear the fear-mongering about trans people, but then they'll come to a video like mine, not to aggrandize myself, but I hope that this is what I did and ultimately was trying to show, is like, come to listen to what I have to say and listen to what I have to say, what the Netflix workers are asking for. If you look at the Netflix workers' demands to Netflix around the closure special, what their walkout entailed, for those of you who don't know, a lot of Netflix workers and trans allies walked out yesterday. And if you look at their demands, none of it said to cancel Dave Chappelle. None of it said to take the closer off of the air. All of it was helping to create a conversation to help promote more trans and non-binary content and artists, especially transgender people of color and non-binary people of color, to center that conversation in a way that is constructive instead of destructive and fitting into the culture war conversation. And I hope, what I desperately, desperately hope, is that the Chappelle special is a chance to, in the mainstream way, it's not going to change everyone's minds, it's not going to move the needle completely the way where we needed to go, but I hope it moves the needle just a little bit to say, hey, we are at a place where we need to acknowledge that this is a conversation that needs to happen, but we can do it in a way that does not shove people down, does not, talk about canceling people. And I hope that that's what happens. We'll see what ultimately happens in the long run, but I am very encouraged that that conversation is happening in a lot of places. And it's not happening everywhere, and it's not happening everywhere it needs to be happening, but it is happening. And I really appreciate that. So, yeah, that is my hope. So, anyways, that's just what I wanted to say about all that. So, thank you for letting me rant a little bit about the Chappelle special. Apologies that was going on there. So, I just wanted to to say that. So, anyways, I saw a few other super chats, so let's get on from the Dave special. I've talked about it enough. I'm going to be talking about it more this weekend, so I think it's good to go on. Anyways, long and short, I do want to say, Lyra, thank you for the super chat. Stay encouraged. Know that it is sometimes hard and it's sometimes rough, but you are strong enough, and I feel like we are in this together, and I send you love, and be an amazing trans creator. It is well worth having you here, and just know that all the people that are being assholes and anything of that, if you ever encounter that, know that they don't know what they're talking about, and they're not talking about you. They're talking about their weird fake version of a trans person they have in their mind. But you are an amazing person, and has nothing to do with you. It only has to do with fear-mongering and disinformation. So, Punk Rock Zoologist, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I send you absolutely all the love. Mwah. Love you, Punk Rock. You are absolutely wonderful. Yay, just got my second Pfizer. You just got your second Pfizer shot. Wow, that's awesome. That's amazing. I'm glad you finally got it. Feeling a bit sick, but I'm so happy to be fully vaxxed. That is amazing. Yeah, I got my second vaccination shot a few months ago, and I remember, like, I think it was on stream the day after, or something close to. I was out of it. It was the second Pfizer shot sucks. I think mine was actually Moderna. I got my second Moderna shot, but still, I would assume it's fairly similar. It sucks, but it lasted a day, and I feel better now that I've gotten the shot. I feel, not that it's completely safe, and the Delta variant sucks still, and this Delta variant plus, I guess, is what we're at now. But yeah, I'm happier that I got it, and I hope that we're moving in that direction. So, Chloe, heart to you. Thank you so much. You said Denis Villeneuve also directed Prisoners 2013. Yes, he did, which was the Hugh Jackman one, right? I believe. And I believe it was the guy who played Riddler too, actually. Paul Dano, right? It was Hugh Jackman and Paul Dano and Jake Gyllenhaal, which was also a really good movie. That was a dark movie. Prisoners was a dark movie. Really dark movie. But I really liked it too. I don't want to spoil too much of that movie, but that movie is dark and kind of messed up, but very, very good. Again, just go and watch. Just go and watch all of Denis Villeneuve. The man's entire filmography is fantastic. It's freaking fantastic and immaculate. Like, just go watch it. What are you doing here? Watch me, but then after me, go watch Denis Villeneuve's entire filmography, because he's just so good. He's just so good. You know who would make an awesome superhero film? Alfonso Cuarón. His visual style would be great for that. Yeah, he would be. In fact, I feel like Alfonso Cuarón. By the way, Bronze Eagle Productions, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said, and that was your chat. I would agree. He was supposed to make the Wolverine, that like one movie where speaking of Hugh Jackman, where Wolverine went to Japan. And that one was all right. I didn't hate the Wolverine. He didn't end up directing it, but I think he was supposed to for a good chunk of time, and had to move on. I liked the Wolverine. It didn't knock my socks off. I think it's a very underrated movie. I think my problem with it is just that third act where it just becomes big CGI monster fight, which is unfortunate, because the rest of that movie is really, really solid. I think it's a bit tropey, like, oh no, there's the Wolverine sad because he lost Phoenix, and it's just like, stranger in a strange land sort of thing. So it's a bit tropey, a bit rote, and the ending kind of disappoints, but it was visually different and distinct. I liked that they took some risks with it and with the story a little bit and tried to do something different. It was a really good movie, and Alfonso Cuarón, I think, probably would have elevated it a little bit more, but then we also ended up getting Logan, which is fantastic. Logan is a fantastic movie. Andrew Clegg, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah, my beautiful friend. Let's see. Just making sure I'm catching up some stuff. Oh, Logan was great. I agree. Logan, Diamond backstage. I agree. Logan is fantastic. Oh, Molly. Sorry, I'm just catching up on the super chats. Just make sure everything's good going on there. Molly, you're a fantastic person too. I love you, Molly. You are you are an absolutely valued member of this community. I send you all the love. You're absolutely fantastic. But Andrew Clegg, heart to you. You said enough dudes rank Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batwoman by whatever criteria you want. Oh gosh. Who? Batwoman? Not Batgirl, because that's slightly different. Oh. I want to rank them by how awesome I think they are. Wonder Woman would have been number one if it hadn't been from Wonder Woman 1984, which is like, since that's like the last major Wonder Woman story in my mind, like just put me down, feeling down. Though I will say, Linda Carter, the other day, Linda Carter tweeted out that all trans women are Wonder Woman. Linda Carter, who played Wonder Woman initially. So, hell yeah, freaking Wonder Woman says trans women are women. I love it. Linda Carter, freaking amazing. Just for that, I'll put Wonder Woman number 1. I'll probably put Supergirl number 2. Because I love that show, but CW stuff is really frustrating. And I'll put Batwoman last, mostly just because I don't have a lot of connection to her. Also, hearing some of the stuff from Ruby Rose. If you go up and look at what happened with Ruby Rose, some of the stuff she's accusing the production producers of Batwoman, the show about, which also they also run the Supergirl show, I should say too. Pretty atrocious stuff. And it means I will not be watching. I mean, I was kind of fading out on the Arrowverse anyways at this point, but I've decided that I'm going to stop watching most of the Arrowverse stuff outside of like 1 or 2 shows that I still am really hooked on, like Legends of Tomorrow. But I'm kind of done with the Arrowverse, especially after the Ruby Rose stuff. Very disappointing because the Arrowverse was such a great, while it was far from perfect, I do think the Arrowverse was such a great place for representation, fun. It was really what set off the trend of like superhero TV shows, and like big epic crossover stuff that got crazy and bonkers. And I really loved that. But it is very unfortunate the way they've treated people. If the things that Ruby Rose says is true, and WB hasn't really denied it. They said like, oh, she's done some revisionist history. But they didn't really address any of her concerns in any way. So, and after the stuff with Ray Fisher and stuff like that, I'm not really inclined to believe WB on the matter. So yeah, I think that's my ranking of that. Wonder Woman, Supergirl, Batwoman. I think would be that ranking. But I think they're all great as characters. I think they all have good things to say as characters, just in general. Dorian R., heart to you. Thank you so much, you wonderful person. You said, I think you are on to a special novel, Superman. I don't know what that means, Dorian, but thank you. I apologize. I might be missing that a little bit. But thank you very much, Dorian. Let's see. The Good Morty. Heart to you. Thank you so much, you lovely, lovely person. You said, do you watch SBSK? Purest thing on YouTube. SBSK. What is SBSK? Does anyone know what SBSK is? I actually don't know what SBSK is. Does anyone in the super chat say SBSK? Oh, I don't know. Because I might watch it, but I'm bad at like acronyms. SBSK. What's SBSK? Special Books by Special Kids? Is that it? I don't know. I actually don't know what that is. Special Books for Special Kids. Yeah, okay, it is Special Books for Special Kids. Okay, good. I actually haven't, but I will subscribe right now. I will check that out. That sounds really wonderful. That actually sounds really, 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 really wonderful. So I will totally check that out. Good Morty, thank you so much. I just subscribed to their channel. Heart to you. I like finding new stuff. Dorian R., heart to you. Thank you so much, Dorian. Buns of Steel. But I like Buns of Steel. Lyra, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat again. You said, do you have any advice for other trans creators who are afraid of the backlash that they receive for speaking up? You are a role model for so many. Well, thank you for saying that I'm a role model. I appreciate that, Lyra. I think some of the advice that I would give on that is just to know the unfortunate thing, especially because YouTube is still in many ways there's a lot of right-wing platforms on here like Ben Shapiro, like your Steven Crowders and things like that. And even in nerd spaces, obviously, you see like people like Nerdrotic and things like that. Just know that it will happen. You will get transphobic people coming to your content. I get it fairly regularly. Every morning I wake up and there's like a filter that filters. I have a lot of good filters on certain hate speech and things. Know that it's going to happen. And I know that sucks. And what I can say to that is know that it's going to happen, but know that those people are in the minority, that this platform just encourages that nonsense, but they are in the minority. And also know that it's never about you. Ever. It is almost never about you. You go and look at some of the negative comments that I get, even the ones beyond that, like that get into the filter that are just like, you'll never be a woman and you look like a man and Adam's apple. Like, you, like, all that nonsense. It's never about you, because they'll say dumb things like that have nothing to do with me. Like, they'll be like, oh, what, people will always be grossed out by you on the street. It's like, dude, I walk on the street every single day and no one's grossed out. And I get most people saying hi. I've gotten dudes hitting on me on the street. So, like, my lived experience counteracts your entire argument. And even if it did, like, you don't know me, you don't know my life, and you're just coming here to be hateful. So what I will say is, it sucks, and I know you're going to feel it sometimes. I feel it sometimes too when I see that stuff, but just know it's never about you. It has nothing to do with you. They're not seeing you. They're just there to be hateful. And the other thing I will say too to that is, just know that if you are getting that hate, know it's because your presence, what you are saying, just your existence on this platform is doing good. If you're pissing off those people, if they feel the need to attack you and put you down, regardless of whether they've come because they've been misinformed or fear-mongered against or whatever, that is coming from a place of, because your existence and your visibility is dangerous to certain people. And so know that what that means when you get that stuff is that you are doing good and that you are helping and that your visibility is important and meaningful. And take that as a sign to be like, hell yes. Hell yes. The other thing too is the final piece of advice that I can give right now on that, and I can give you a bunch more too, but the final piece of advice that I want you to know is, never let yourself be defined by that hate speech. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. It is... For me, I get all those comments. I get those nasty comments. I get people telling me to kill myself and all that jazz. And it would be very easy to just respond to that. Respond to the vitriol. Respond to the hate. Because that's what we want to do. We want to respond to the most, hateful comments that are against us, right? That's what gets us all fired up in the blood. But what I have found that is more meaningful, what is more important, and was more helpful in the long run is to define ourselves by the best of our community. Define ourselves by the people who make us feel better, who make us feel what this community is right now, what this stream is right now. Just most of you are all wonderful, amazing, kind, caring people, and pursue that. Always pursue that. Always pursue a conversation. Always pursue kindness. Always pursue good community. I think that is what is most important. And I'm not putting down, there are wonderful, amazing people who fight back in the culture war way. And if that's what you want to do, that is awesome. And I approve it in certain ways, because I think there isn't some ability to be like, we need to fight back in this sort of like, yeah, we're going to take people down sort of way in some senses. But I think on the whole, what is more constructive, what is more helpful is to know that you should pursue building a positive, kind, caring community. And the people who are negative and awful, they are minority, and you never want to let them define the conversation. Never let them define the conversation, ever. Define the conversation by the most positive voices in your community, never by your most negative. That doesn't mean blind yourself from criticism. Look for criticism, but make sure the criticism's in good faith. But just make sure you follow the community of kindness as opposed to those voices. That's some, I mean, there's a lot more advice I could give, but I think those are some of the biggest points that I could make right now, Lyra. But yeah, just pursue you. And just know that those people are they're gonna be there, and it's gonna happen. But you don't let them define you. So that's the stuff that I would say, Lyra. Heart to you, Rick Nelson. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said Imira. I'm probably gonna mispronounce names, so apologies. Amara Jones replied to Netflix and Chappelle on NPR News today. She did a great job and thought a bit good to mention that, especially Black trans women. I did not hear that. Excuse me, but I will check it out, because I've been trying to look for more voices on that, more Black trans voices on the Spell Special, and there's been, because as no community is a monolith, even the Black trans women community is also not monolithic. There's been a variety of opinions on that, and I've been trying to listen to a bunch of them as well. So thank you so much for saying Amara Jones. I will actually check that out, because I would like to make sure I listen, and I would say please listen. While I'm happy my video is doing well, it should not be the only piece of the conversation you go to. For stuff about Dave Chappelle, please go listen to other wonderful people, especially Black trans women, on the issue. But, just take a listen to a lot of different people's voices on it. I should not by no means be the only place you go to for that. Heart to you. Thank you so much, Stephen Fenn. You said, I love to help with an ace video. Don't know how, though. Also, asexuality is mostly about attraction. Is possibly ace and hypersexual. For sure. Totally, it can be. And that's why I would love to do a video on that. We'll talk Stephen Fenn at some point. I'll figure it out. Because like I said, I talked earlier about asexuality, but I do want to do a video on asexuality, but I want to make sure I do it from a place that's like, I'm not asexual, so I don't want to be the center of that conversation. But I'll use my platform as best I can to do that. So we should, when I have a chance to do that, which hopefully will be sometime next year, early to mid next year, I will make sure to catch up with you and other asexual people as well. Gozer the Gozerian. I know there's more super chats and I want to get to them, but I actually want to address this criticism really quickly because it's a fair one. It's an entirely fair one. You said, I think you're being way too kind to Chappelle, but you've always been much kinder than me. I'm setting aside, like, I'm not necessarily more kinder or not. I have heard some legitimate criticism, people saying that I've been too kind to Chappelle, that I let him off and is therefore it kind of lets him get away scot-free. That's because... And I totally hear that. There's well worth being harsher. There's well worth people being harsher on Dave Chappelle. I totally agree with you. Two things with that. Me, I am not that kind of person that can do that. It's not who I am, and that's not aggrandizing myself. Again, I think there is value in being much harsher on Dave Chappelle than I was in my video. But it's just not the type of content that I am good at making, nor what I think I want to add into the world. And that's, again, not judging content that is not that. But it's just the voice that I want to be. And so, as always, I do not think my voice is the only voice on something, nor is it the tactic that I take is the only tactic. The reason that I also want to also be fair is that the reason that I am also try to be kind to people like Dave Chappelle a lot of the time is because I believe that what the videos that I try to make a lot of the time, not always, is I want to try to bring people into the conversation who don't already know why Dave Chappelle's special was harmful, and bring them in a way that is coming from the place that they're starting at. Because while, like Gozer, you and I would probably, we watched the Dave Chappelle special, if you did, and we'd be like, oh God, I instantly know, like maybe I won't be able to articulate it until I think about it, but it's like I feel all the like, the grossness that special had in it, right? We feel it intrinsically. A lot of us do. But there are people who will watch that special, and because they have not been exposed to trans issues, not been exposed to other things, they won't have that reaction. They'll just be like, oh, that was a special. Maybe Dave Chappelle has a point. They won't like have that sort of visceral reaction. And then they go online and they see Dave Chappelle transphobic. Dave Chappelle's special getting a lot of criticism. They'll see that and be like confused. And so what I want to do with my videos is to start from a place of like, hey, I totally get that that's where you're starting from. I'm going to start there too. I'm going to start from, where's Dave Chappelle? I'm going to be like, this is my thoughts on this. I do think his video was, his special was transphobic. I do think it was harmful in these ways, and maybe beneficial in these ways as well. But I want to start there so that I can bring those people along. Because if I start off being like, oh, this special was awful and I hate Chappelle and he's awful, there might be people who are just instantly like, nope, don't want to watch that content. And that's, and right or wrong, they would probably be wrong for that and not listening to that voice. But I think sometimes framing it that way is helpful for bringing those people in. Again, not the only way you can do it, not the only tactic that we should be doing. I think that we should be doing multiple tactics and multiple things. But that is what I can add, I think. And that's just me. That's just my tactic, my way. I by no means think it's the only way, nor do I think it's the best way. It's just the way that I can add to it. So, that's what I say. So, all right. Keep going. Captain Omni, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. I really appreciate you. Mwah. Sending you love. You said, as a non-binary who presents masked, I love seeing non-binary characters who are presented as badasses akin to Red Sonja or Conan the Barbarian. We need it. Hell yeah, for sure. There's a great I'm watching, by the way, people should be watching Young Justice. I just watched episode 3 of Young Justice this season, and they had some great discussions. They're using Martians, and I know I've always ranted about like how I don't always love alien metaphor used to like discuss trans people, but I think what Young Justice is, I might even end up doing a video on it depending on how this whole season goes. This season of Young Justice, Young Justice has non-binary characters in it, and I also think that show is just, this season is addressing like like issues of identity in a way that is talking about trans issues without it being like, this is supposed to be metaphorically trans, but talking about that dynamic. And there's in episode 3, without spoiling too much, there's a Martian character who presents as a Miss Martian. She presents looking like a human, and at one point in the episode she shifts to look like a Martian, and her mother says, don't look like that. It's like, you used to, when you were younger, you used to shift to look like different kind of Martians, like shift like your abilities, and none of it really felt true to who you were, even the Martian version of yourself that you are now. And right now, when you shifted to the Martian version that you looked like when you were born, that identity rang false too. Who you are is when you look like human. And it was I thought it was such a really beautiful way to talk about how identity is not something that we're necessarily born with, but how we sort of, find our identity through different things and through transitions in life. And I think that it was, a really beautiful discussion of that. So please go and watch Young Justice. That show is so fantastic, and I think they are nailing it this year. I think on that front, I think it's fan-freaking-tastic. It made me very, very happy. Like I said, I might end up, depending on how the whole season turns out, I don't want to do a video now and then the season just like crashes and burns. I'm like, oh crap, made a video about a show that got it all wrong. But if the season goes well, I might end up making a video on Young Justice, because it is, so far so good. It has been fantastic. Let's see. Jayodi, thank you so much for your super chat. Heart to you, I appreciate you. Mwah, you are lovely. And Super Femi, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah. You are lovely as well. You said, Okies, this question has been burning in my mind even more than the Chicago versus New York pizza question from last week. Did Team Rocket figure in your choice of name when you transition? Oh my gosh. So many people picked up on this. So for those of you who don't know, I'm going to forewarn you, I'm going to say my dead name. In one of my videos previously, I said that my dead name was James. And obviously my name now is Jessie. So people were running like, oh, Jesse James. No. Team Rocket did not play into my decision of picking Jessie. I actually was going to go with the name Jamie, which was much more of a... I mean, Jessie's still a gender-neutral-ish name, but Jamie was even more of a gender-neutral-ish name, but my uncle has the same name, Jamie. So I ultimately didn't want to go with Jamie, because I'm like, oh, I wanted to come out to my parents and be like, hey, I'm coming out as trans. I want to be seen as a girl, but also I want to take the name Jamie, which is the same name as my uncle. It would have been kind of weird. So a friend of mine back in college, I think actually Lucian was the person. I don't remember off the top of my head because it was in a conversation with a few people, but I think Lucian was actually the one that came up with the name Jessie. And that one just seemed to fit. It was like close to my dead name. It still felt, because I didn't want to like completely change my name, because I like the name James quite a bit. And I wanted something to, I felt I resonate with the name James quite a bit still. And so I wanted to stay somewhat close to that. And so Jessie felt true to me. And so that's why I changed it. And then only after the fact that I realized the Team Rocket jokes, which was funny. I think it's hilarious. But no, that didn't play into the decision at all. It was just something that came out of it completely separately. But yeah, no, it's very, very funny that people caught on to that, because I thought it was funny too after the fact, but no, it didn't play into the decision. I actually even I had a Tumblr account that I never use. I didn't really use, I look on Tumblr. I never used Tumblr all that much in terms of like my own account. But the Tumblr account, I think, was like Team Rocket. I think it was called like Team Rocket something or other. Play into that. So, heart to you, Captain Omni. You said, have you ever watched Witch or read the original comic of it? I actually have not. I just don't even know what that is. I'll check it out. I know Witches, which was the comic by Scott Snyder. And I loved that. Witches was very, very good. But I haven't read WITCH. So I'll check it out. Thank you for letting me know, Captain Omni. Ulysses the Pagan, heart to you. You said, just curious what's up with the marker board. This guy right here. I might be using it in a few videos coming up. If you're curious about the whiteboard, there's at least 2 videos that I've shot that are going to involve this whiteboard. So just know that this whiteboard is now a prop in my videos. You haven't seen the videos, but some videos have been shot using it. So the whiteboard is now a Jessie gender prop, so that's why it's behind me. I was filming, as you can see, there's like still some lights and stuff up in the background. I was filming. In fact, it's just off screen, but this is like my mic. My shotgun mic is like right off camera right here, because I was filming earlier with it. So that's what's up with the whiteboard. To tease you a little bit. Lyra, I agree. Melissa Benoist is an underrated icon. Melissa Benoist is phenomenal. She's the girl who plays Supergirl. And I think she's fantastic. Also, Dreamer, the girl who plays Dreamer, is also fantastic on the show. Transgender superhero for the win. So. Mossel Green, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. Mwah, my wonderful friend. You said, I'm a Wonder Woman fan since childhood, and I'm so glad to hear that about Linda Carter. That's, I'm in tears. I know, it made me very, very happy. It also shows you, like, age does not give you an excuse for transphobia, because Linda Carter is a wonderful human, supports trans people, and I don't want to be like she's old. She's not old. I mean, and number two, she looks fantastic for her age. Like, did you see her Wonder Woman 94? That movie was not great, but she looked fantastic in it. But yeah, no, it's just like she is absolutely wonderful and amazing, and for Wonder Woman herself to stand up for trans women is insanely meaningful. It's nice to see anyone with a platform stand up for trans people. That is always wonderful. But Linda Carter especially, considering that she is Wonder Woman, that is insanely meaningful. And so that it really meant a lot to me to see her tweet that out. I thought it was very meaningful to me. Catherine Lambeth. Oh my God, Catherine Lambeth, thank you so much for super chat. You are amazing. Aw, that is an insanely kind super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Catherine Lambeth. You said, I was hoping for 100K subscriber hype on this stream, but it'll happen soon enough. I'm celebrating early. I know! We're at 99. We hit 99,000 subscribers, I think, this morning. So probably, maybe even next week. We'll see. It probably depends on how well the Superman video goes, but we might have 100K subscribers next week, which is amazing. I'm excited about that. I get a little plaque. that just says Jessie on it. It'll be fun. I'm very excited about that. We'll see how it ultimately goes. I'm probably gonna try and do, maybe not. It won't be next week. I'll have to put it together, but I do want to do some sort of celebration thing for 100K subscribers. I probably won't be able to put something together until November or December. But I do want to do something special for it. Maybe I'll do like a stream and get a bunch of cool people on and just say like, hey, check out these people as well, and use the hype to like also promote other people as well. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. It took a lot of work, but it is insanely meaningful to hit that milestone, to hit 100K. I'll talk about it more when I actually hit it. But it's very exciting, and I'm very excited to hit it. Is basically what I'll end up saying. I'll say more when it comes, but it's kind of weird in the best way possible to know that I'm about to hit that, to like know that there's some like I actually am doing something that people want to watch. That's really cool. So yeah, I'm excited about that. Bookworm of the fandoms, heart to you. And by the way, Kathleen Beth, thank you so much for your super chat. That was very, very generous. I really appreciate it. Bookworm of the fandoms, heart to you. You said, I am neurodivergent and I love Data from Star Trek so much. Not watched your Star Trek representation vid yet, but I need to. Oh, I hope you do. I hope you'll enjoy it, because yeah, I talk a lot about Data in that video, about him being a sort of very clearly like evoking a lot of neurodivergent tropes and ideas and representations. Yeah, I mean, Star Trek is littered in many ways with autistic representation, neurodivergent representation as a whole. I know there's probably a video that I could make talking about, I mean, I don't have ADHD, but I know there's a lot of ways we could talk about ADHD in Star Trek as well, and a lot of other ways that people are neurodivergent. And Star Trek is littered with that, like from Spock to Data to, Odo to 7 of 9 even, to all those folks. I think it's really, really cool, and I see a lot of myself as someone on the autism spectrum in a lot of those characters, and I'm glad that people really love that video, and I hope that you enjoy it, Bookworm, and heart to you, my lovely Trekkie friend. And then Geek Filter, heart to you, thank you so much. Justin popping in. I thought you meant just popping in. Just popping in to say hello. I'm off to Monster Movie Night, sending heart to all. Thank you, Geek Filter. You are lovely. For those of you who don't know, Geek Filter is my lovely podcast partner. We did the podcast Drawn to Trek, where we talked about Star Trek Lower Decks. I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a big episode of Drawn to Trek that I'm going to be doing on the podcast very, very soon. And Aaron Harvey's co-hosting that with me, so I'll share it when it's ready, when we officially know what it's going to look like. But I'm very pumped for what's going to happen on that podcast. So sending love to him. Sean Piper, heart to you. Yes, thank you for giving me an excuse to talk about this, Sean Piper. You said, have you checked out Brent Spiner's fan fiction? For those of you who don't know, Brent Spiner, who played Data in Star Trek The Next Generation, he just released a book called Fan Fiction, a Mem Noir. So it's how best to describe this book? It is so good. I just finished it last night. I listened to the audiobook. It is a fictional memoir about Brent Spiner that he wrote, an autobiography. Basically, it's an autobiography about his time on Star Trek The Next Generation, set during Star Trek The Next Generation Season 5, but it's also fictional in some senses. Like, there are some truths in it, but it's also fictional and details a fan pretending to be Lal and trying to, like, Lal, the daughter of Data, who get obsessed over him and trying to kill him. And so it's this like detective mystery starring Brent Spiner behind the scenes of Star Trek The Next Generation. And if you listen to the audiobook, he got all of the cast members of Star Trek The Next Generation to come in for the audiobook. So Patrick Stewart's on there, Marina Sirtis is on there, Jonathan Frakes, Michael Dorn, Gates McFadden as well. It is very fun, very good. It's not the best book ever written. Like, I finished it last night. There's a couple things I'm like, oh, he could have written this better, or this arc could have been clearer. It is by no means the best book I have ever read, the best noir fiction I've ever read. But as a Trekkie, it was a lot of fun. So it is a good noir novel. It's like a solid noir novel with a Trekkie flavor twist to it. That I really loved. And it also gives you some good insight into, like, he does talk about his early life as a kid, which all of that stuff is true. So you do actually get some insight into Brent Spiner as a person too. So there is some autobiographical elements in there that I think are really, really cool. That I would just highly recommend. I might do a review of it for my secondary channel as well. When I get the chance. But yeah, I'd highly recommend if you're looking for a book to read. It's not even a long book too. The audiobook is like one of the shorter audiobooks I've listened to. Go listen to Fan Fiction by Brent Spiner. Very good book. A lot of fun. I would almost recommend the audiobook over the actual book, just because you get Brent Spiner performing the audiobook plus all the cast members of Star Trek The Next Generation. It's like a very good audio drama. So I would recommend even the audiobook over the book itself. But it's a good story. It's a lot of fun. You listen to Pagan, heart to you. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said your thoughts on Will Wheaton petitioning to voice on Lower Decks. I mean, I'm here for it. Give me Will Wheaton. I mean, honestly, don't get me wrong. I want get everybody, literally get everybody you can, if it makes sense for the story. I don't want them to just become the cameo show on Star Trek Lower Decks. But what I liked, no spoilers for Lower Decks. I won't give you any specific spoilers, but the cameos that I feel that Lower Decks have done have been incredibly tasteful and felt like they paid off stories that Trekkies have wanted, and even stories that felt natural to what Lower Decks was trying to tell, as like both thematically, and in ones that were ones that we wanted but didn't expect. Like the one in the finale, without spoiling, the big cameo in the finale of Lower Decks was like, that was not one that I expected nor ever anticipated ever seeing happen in a Star Trek show. I never expected to get that character to have some sort of closure. And yet her coming back was like, oh, this feels so wonderful to see this closure for this character, to have this moment for this character, and it felt so right for this character, and also fitting with what Lower Decks was trying to say as a show, that characters who are the Lower Decks on other shows, they get to go up, and they get to move up, and they get to be part of this, and they get to explore themselves and become the best selves. I think it fit so perfectly. So Will Wheaton, I think, would actually fit that really, really well in a lot of senses. The only negative I would say to that is, like, again, I want Lower Decks to be its own show. I don't want it to become the cameo hour, which I don't think it is, but I don't want it to be that way. What I would also say is, I would actually almost rather, instead of him being, the only other thing I would say is, instead of him being in Lower Decks, I almost would rather Will Wheaton in Star Trek Picard, because I think there's still more to be said and done with Will Wheaton, with Wesley Crusher's relationship to Picard, and also to Beverly Crusher. Hopefully they can bring her back for Star Trek Picard season 2 or season 3. But I really hope that they bring his character back in Picard, because I honestly feel like there's Picard being a father figure to Wesley, I think, is an important arc for his character, and it would be really nice to see that paid off in Star Trek Picard, and sort of wrap out that arc in a profound way, because I do feel like more than likely outside of like beta canon stuff, I'm sure. And an inevitable like Kelvin timeline reboot or something, I'm sure will happen in like 10, 15, 20 years. Season 3 of Picard, which they say will be the last season of the show. Season 3 of Picard, I will almost bet you will be the last time we see Patrick Stewart playing Picard. As sad as that to say, that is probably the case. And so I would love to see Will Wheaton show up on Picard and have that chance to have his last scene with Picard, with Patrick Stewart's Picard specifically. So yeah, we'll see what ends up happening. But I would actually rather him be in Picard over Lower Decks. But that's just me. That's what I would want. I'm gonna wrap out these last few. Thank you, Molly, for sending me the message. I missed who said that. You said, if I missed someone's message, I apologize. Where were you? Nico girl. Could you resend what you said in the chat? I'm sorry I missed it. For some reason I might have missed it. So please re-say it in the chat, and thank you for boosting Molly and Emily. If you don't mind resending it in the chat at the bottom so I can catch it, because I can't find it in the middle of all this. I'm going to look at these last super chats, and then I'll do Nico Girl's chat as the last one, and then those will be the last things for the stream tonight. So Nico Girl, if you could quick just type in whatever your message was. I'm sorry if I missed it, if you gave a super chat. Sometimes I miss super chats because the chat moving so fast, so apologies on that front. So just let me know. But let me get these last 3 super chats here. Heart to you, Albert. Thank you so much. Heart to you. You said, hey, Jesse, Dune is coming out Friday, but do you think is best seeing on the big screen or stay at home and stream on HBO Max? I think do whatever's best for you. I mean, I am a film nerd, so I'm going to go and see it in theaters, and I want to go see it in like IMAX. I don't think there's an IMAX near me that I can get to easily, but I do want to see it in IMAX. I mean, as a film nerd and film buff, IMAX is almost always the best way to see a movie. So yes, I think that's great. To be fair, though, I feel like the conversation we often forget about, like, with like filmmakers saying you need to go see it in IMAX is like, to a degree, like how that is not financially viable for everybody to go see a movie for like what $30 is probably is for IMAX. I mean, it's too expensive for freaking regular movie tickets as it is. So I think if you have the money and ability to go see it in IMAX, as a film buff, that's what I'm going to go and see it in theaters at least. So that's what I would recommend. But I think it's perfectly legitimate to go and watch it at home. I don't like have some snobber who's like, oh, you don't get to film. You're not watching the full experience. Like, watch the movie in the best way that is, financially viable for you. And I think that's enjoying it. But like, I mean, if we're just talking like objectively the best experience, yes, I think it's going to see it on IMAX, 100%. But I'm not going to be a snob and say you don't get to film if you have to watch it on HBO Max, because I think that's a bit of a kind of elitist statement to kind of say it that way. Oh, well, Neko Girl, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I appreciate you. You said, can't afford a super chat right now, but I am a huge fan of what you do as another trans femme autistic Trek nerd. Well, Neko Girl, hell yes. Live long and prosper, you wonderful Neko Girl. I really appreciate you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Sorry I missed your message earlier, and thank you, Molly and Emily, for boosting that. I appreciate you. Mwah. You're absolutely lovely. I really appreciate you. And thank you for saying that. I really appreciate it. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for signaling, boosting that, and that for being kind. I appreciate you. Oh, you're lovely. Stephen Fenn, heart to you again. Thank you so much for your super chat. You said, I just subscribed to Drawn to Trek. It's what I will be listening to tomorrow. Hell yes. I hope you enjoy it. Or you just watch this like, oh my gosh, Jesse's so annoying in podcast format. And then Edward Bedore, heart to you. You said, I will now run a one-man campaign for the casting of Renee Jane Page as James Bond and Idris Elba as M. I want to keep the current Q and Manny Penny. I agree on all of that. I would love that. That would be freaking fantastic. As much as the one casting that I saw, I'm like, I would like there not to be another like straight white dude playing James Bond. Like, I think that it would be cool to see James Bond be like another identity. I think it'd just be interesting to see what the character does for that. That does to the character. But that being said, some people were batting around Tom Hardy as James Bond. I'm like, ooh, I could get behind Tom Hardy, James Bond. Like, I would like to see someone else play it, but also Tom Hardy, James Bond would be fun. I would be down for that. But anyways, so now that we are all said and done, I'm gonna wrap up because I'm actually gonna be running a little bit late for my movie. So I'm gonna quick wrap this out, everybody. I want to send all of you love. You are all fantastic. Thank you, everybody, for being kind and amazing. Just some quick announcements, since I said them at the top, so I'm just gonna run through them really quick right now. Rewind to the top if you want more detail on them. Tomorrow, there's a video going up on Bisexual Superman. I'm actually going to make the link live right now. So let me quick do that as we're talking. There's a video going to go up at 10 a.m. Tomorrow about Bisexual Superman. I'm just going to make this live so you can have the link. Boom. That should be up. Make sure it's on the right day. Yep. Cool. So I'm going to quick share the link in the chat. So put this on your notifications for the video tomorrow. You can check that out. That's a video on Bisexual Superman that'll be going up tomorrow. This month has been kind of like more talk to camera-y videos. Next month I'll have some more like crazy over-the-top artistic videos that I think will be kind of fun. But this is just another sort of like talking to the issues at hand sort of video. I think it'll be kind of nice, and I try to have some humor in it as well. So that'll be going up tomorrow. Saturday, just some differences. I'm going to be in Lumi Rue's Twitch stream on Saturday for 2 hours talking about the Dave Chappelle special. We're going to have a really wonderful chat. There's going to be some other lovely YouTubers in there that you may recognize who are absolutely lovely. So please check out that. That'll be at noon Pacific time on Saturday. And then after that, that'll go for about 2 hours. Then after that, I'm going to be going over to Bad Bunny's Twitch stream because she is doing a trans charity. She's doing a 5-hour charity on her stream for a trans charity to help raise money for, I believe, Trans Lifeline. I believe. I'm not 100% sure on the exact trans group that's going to be getting. I believe it's Trans Lifeline, but I'm not 100%. So that'll be going up at 2 o'clock tomorrow. I'm sorry, 2 o'clock on Saturday Pacific time. And then Saturday night, I will, depending on how I feel, I probably am going to lean towards not doing a video game drunk stream just because have been on live streams for 3 hours on Saturday, and so I'll probably need a little bit of a break Saturday night to just sort of chill and sort of detox from the day. So I might change my mind on that if I get to Saturday and I'm like, you know what? I feel like playing some video games with some folks. I might jump on a stream. So I'll leave it open. But for now, I would probably say plan on me not playing Saturday. But that'll just sort of be the thought right now. But it might change my mind. We'll see what happens when it gets to Saturday. But don't worry, you'll still get a lot of me on Saturday. You'll still get a lot of me on different streams, just not here on those channels. I will share those links in the community tab on Saturday, so keep an eye out there. And I'll also be sharing the links on my Twitter, so if you follow me on Twitter, you can find the links to those channels on Saturday as well. So if you're like, where's Jessie? Find me in the community tab on Saturday. Also follow me on Twitter to boost my Twitter account, but also just so you know that you can follow me there. So that's everything that's going to be happening. So I hope to see you all either tomorrow or Saturday. But until then, I send you love. I'm going to go watch a movie, and I will see you all tomorrow. So have a good night, everyone.